I had two choices. I chose the wrong one.
That would lie.
No, I had two ways to go.
I
We're
would like
live.
Good evening. I would like to call this meeting of the East Stroudsburg Area School District School Board Policy Review Committee to order and ask everyone to please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have roll call, please?
George Andrews.
Present.
Jason Goldstrand,
Present.
Keith Carcutt,
Present.
and Debbie Kulik.
Present.
Everyone is present. I would like to have a motion to adopt the agenda for October.
So moved.
Okay, with the members of the committee reviewing the right to add to the agenda or take further action as the committee seems appropriate. We have a
So moved.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the minutes for September 23rd, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving along to new business. I'm gonna try and do this. Let me see, I'm practicing at home. I have to make it big so I can read it. All right, first off, we have policy, these are policies for discussion, new business, policy 113.1. After reviewing this policy, I think this is a basic, we're just changing and updating. We're changing his or her to the student's disability. Is there, do we have to do that? I guess we, right? Is that we have to do
It's
that?
a generic
A
term.
generic term? Okay,
It's a nice generic.
okay.
Ju-
I'm sorry.
Just to keep in mind that do you have to or not? The answer is it's highly recommended you do what PSBA wants you, recommends here, because if you don't, these are based on challenges that they've had, right? All their responses, everything you see here is based on challenges that they've already had or that they're aware of.
So they're giving
So-
us a suggestion that,
They're-
hey, this is a good.
They're saying, hey,
Okay,
don't screw this up, because
Better than having to have transgender over there, they just use students.
that's why we go through this,
Okay.
this exercise.
all right. I've never had it put that way. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Then moving down to referral to law enforcement reporting requirements, we're adding the word products to tobacco. We are adding in the school safety and security provisions of code.
Because safe schools now falls under that provision.
That's what I was
why
gonna
that's
ask.
coming out.
That, thank you for fixing that one. We're changing local police department to law enforcement agency. We're changing Office of Safe Schools to PA Department of Education. And that is on that one. Anyone have any questions on that one? And these are all recommendations from PSBA, the last
Yes.
update. We're on the September update?
September update.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay, now we're moving on to behavior and behavior support. And I think this was just, we're putting the word positive in behavior support plan, because that's what we use.
Yes.
And I think that's about all for this one, I think. Just making sure, we're changing local police department to the law enforcement agent, to the law enforcement agency. Twice, three times.
3 times.
And that's it for that policy.
Yes, sir.
Any questions on that one? Okay, I need to go back to this one now and do the next one, which is eligibility of non-resident students. And I think the only thing, let me see, there was a question, I think, on it. And who is not otherwise entitled to enrollment with, okay, let me read that one real quick, because this was, the board reserves the right to verify claims of residency, dependency, and guardianship, and to remove from school attendance a non-resident student whose claim is invalid and who is not otherwise entitled to enrollment within the district. That is replaced, and then we're striking out the next one. And then the district may disenroll a student following in determination that the student does not reside in the district and is not otherwise entitled to free school privileges in the district. The district shall provide notice to the parents, guardians of the person having charge or care of the students of the reasons for the district's determination to disenroll the student. The district may not disenroll the student until one, the parents or guardians or any other person having charge or care of the student have been provided an opportunity for a hearing with the board or a committee of the board to appeal the decision, and the appeal process has been exhausted. Two, the parents, guardians of the person having charge or care of the student, after being notified the opportunity for a hearing, declined to participate in the hearing or the appeals process. And then prior to the disenrolling a student, the district's liaison for homeless children and youth shall provide the parents, guardians of this person having charge or care of the student with information regarding the educational rights of homeless students. The district shall comply with a court order directing a student to be disenrolled or enrolled in a different school.
That's it for the policy.
And that's it for the
No
policy.
other change.
Any questions on that one? Okay, let's go to the next one. And then we're going on to
Threat assessment?
threat assessment. Yeah, I'm just gonna, sorry, that's a little smaller. I can't read that one. Okay, so now we're going to threat assessment. This one, I had a question on this one, I think. Where's a threat assessment team shall include the school safety and security coordinator and individuals with expertise in school health, counseling, school psychology, or social work, special education, and school administration, members of the student assistance program, school security personnel, law enforcement agency representatives, behavioral health professionals, student prevention coordinators, and/or members of the crisis response crisis intervention team, and juvenile probation professionals. And then we'll have a discussion maybe afterward. Under training, the superintendent will replace the school safety and security coordinator or designate. And then we're adding number 6, youth suicide awareness, prevention, and response to the list of annual training. Multi-tiered systems of support, positive behavioral intervention and support. I think that was,
Why are we?
let's go through the whole thing first.
5 of 8, Keats is more.
Yeah, and then the next page is, we're taking out the word recommend and we're putting in establish and implement procedures in accordance with the district's memorandum of understanding with each law enforcement agency having jurisdiction over school property to address situations where the investigations of the reported threat shall be transferred to the appropriate law enforcement agency. And then further down, we're changing safe schools to school safety and security. We're adding the word products to tobacco again. We're changing the Safe Schools Act to school safety and security provisions of school code like we did earlier. And I think that was
That is it.
it. Okay, any discussions?
Why are we doing superintendent versus, what was it called?
School safety and security
Yeah.
coordinator.
Well, you're not necessarily doing the superintendent or designee.
Yeah.
So whoever he or she would designate as the person in charge of that committee, that's who it would be.
We're just doing away with the, other.
School safety and security coordinator, yes. Because some districts may not necessarily
Have that.
have someone under that title.
I think ultimately the superintendent is the deciding
buck-
factor over all of that anyway.
The buck stops.
The
there.
buck stops there. Yeah, so to say. Thank you, Debbie. Any other questions? What made me concerned, like, but all these different people involved is, I mean, the different,
It takes a whole team, Keith.
Well,
It
okay,
takes a
I mean,
whole
but-
team.
But they're not necessarily involved, Keith, in every
Step.
assessment we go through.
Okay.
It depends what we need.
so we can
Right.
pull people from different resources
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're involved in
The
everything.
whole, this entire group of people doesn't meet with one student if there's. an
Okay,
issue.
that's what was worrying me. All
We
you
only use the resources
Okay.
that we need. They just want to make sure they've got everything covered, that the school district
Perfect.
has the ability to bring people in that have this expertise to deal with
Okay.
John.
That solved my question on that one. Any other questions on that one? That was concerning. Okay, next we're going on to 236, we're 254, educational opportunity for military children. I think this one, let's see.
We just added National Guard to that.
We are children or military families means a school-aged child enrolled in kindergarten through 12th grade normally residing in the household of an active duty member or in accordance with applicable law. And then we're adding members of National Guard or Reserve who are required to move to perform responsibilities in their service, which results in the child having to transfer from a public school in another state to a public school in this state. And I think that was it for that one.
That was it.
Any questions on that one? Basically saying we're going to be cordial to any military children, which we
Absolutely.
should be anyway.
Yep.
That was just updated.
Tuition
It's
income-
stating the obvious.
Basically, but we're just I learned something. George, you can like open it up naturally. I'm gonna go up to that thing. I'm sorry. I'm excited. We're going on to policy,
604.
tuition income.
607.
We're adding the word applicable policy. We're taking chief financial officer out. Okay, it shall be the responsibility of the now director of child accounting to invoice tuition for approved students. Tuition rates shall be those determined annually for the district. We're taking out brick and mortar buildings as well as ESASD Cyber Academy and changing that with putting in as published by the Pennsylvania Department of Education. I'm just wondering what, first off, okay, I'm gonna put it to the floor question. I'm gonna ask my first question.
Sure.
Why are we transferring the title of billing to anything other than our business office?
The actual bill will go out by the business office, but I think what they want here, and I'm only assuming what I think they want. They want to make sure that a CFO isn't determining randomly that somebody should be charged tuition. As opposed, we want to get the information from the director of child accounting because they're the ones that would actually know that. The CFO is not going to know that. That's my only guess. Mag, you have any, I mean,
No, I completely agree. They
Yeah.
want to make sure that child accounting is
And then it goes to business office.
sparking that.
then it would be,
child
yeah,
is
the
a
business
big
office would absolutely then in follow up with the director of child accounting. Because I think Keith, the argument could be just the opposite then. Okay, so director of child accounting is going to send a bill to somebody? Where's the
Or
money
the
going to go? Like,
Yeah.
what's the actual, like, how are you going to account for the money?
Or
for lack of a
child
better
accounting
word, right?
has no idea who's
So-
being billed.
Right.
To me, it's a little nitpicky, but that's what PSBA.
It's a paper
I mean,
trail.
I can see CFO not doing that because how's the CFO gonna know?
No idea.
Because you guys could technically go to the CFO and say, how many kids have we billed this year? And he's gonna go. Where it's at right now, if this policy were to stay the same, I don't know who's supposed to be charged tuition. That's not their role. You follow me? You follow the logic?
Right. But this, and this policy,
Yeah, or they can.
Child, here's how it would work. Child accounting is gonna know who should be charged tuition because they're gonna find out. Then they'll communicate with the CFO and understand there's gonna be a bill that goes out to that family. Guys, I can't remember the last time that, first of all, we don't accept tuition in any district I've ever worked in. We don't accept tuition students. So it kind of takes care of itself.
However,
okay,
So I guess my point is, I don't want to see you spend a lot of time on
Okay.
this.
every-
When in fact, you don't, typically, you're not gonna accept tuition students.
all right.
And any that you do is gonna come through, typically, they're gonna come through the IU. And the IU is gonna handle that side of it.
Right.
I don't care what.
And ultimately, okay, that's okay. I'm good with that. Anyone else? Jason, Debbie?
Nope, we're
No, I
good
mean-
now.
Okay. Because I heard conversation that I didn't know. Okay, so moving on, security personnel. We have this one. Oh, I gotta make it. The district shall employ or contract for at least one full-time school security personnel who has completed the training required by law and this board policy to be on duty during the school day. The district shall certify that state school safety and security committee annually that has met the requirements for the school security personnel and has received a waiver in accordance with applicable law. A school day, the hours between the morning opening of the school building and the afternoon dismissal of students on a day which classes are in session. I think, and then the number of types of school security personnel employed by the district, including The number of school security personnel that are armed listed by types of personnel, the school building at which each school security personnel is assigned listed by types of personnel, the training including the type of training and completion dates of each school security personnel listed by types of personnel, a listing of other individuals utilized by the district for school safety related duties. A copy of the report, and going down to the next page, a copy of the report, including the required information on the threat assessment and school security personnel, shall be submitted to the school safety and security committee. Scrolling down, I think there was one more, I think there were a couple more. Now, down, I don't know what page this is.
That was it, Keith.
No, on page 8.
Oh, there's a.
It says
Yeah.
it's listed in that paragraph prior to receiving an offer of employment, but I'll just, board policy and administrative regulations. These requirements are addressed separately in board policy 304.3. I have a question about that one because, okay, now we're on questions. I'll ask the first question. 304.3, I can't find in our policies. Is that a typo? We don't have a policy 304.3 that I could find. And I'm just confused on this whole, I mean.
304.3 is employment of school security personnel. It's listed in our
maybe I
active
searched it.
policy.
Maybe I didn't see it. Okay, that, I couldn't find that.
I think originally it just said 304, so the 3 was added because it was incorrect. So that's why we made that correction there.
Is the state looking for a new report? That's why they're putting all this stuff.
No, it's the same report. They're just making sure we do report it.
But we report it anyway. We do this.
I understand that.
We have our own Department of Security, we have our own school police.
I understand that. But
They're
this
just
is the
making sure okay.
Right.
That's what it looks like.
These are, just keep in mind that everything that's in green are things that we were lacking, that PSBA believes should be in there to make it very clear to everybody. Even though you're right, you guys have everything that's supposed to be here. We do the.
I
report.
mean,
You're-
schools shall employ at least one full-time security personnel. We have many.
We have many, but Act 55 of 2024 requires that now. Some school districts have.
So
not. We're
every
way
school
ahead
district has
of
to
the
have
curve.
one,
Yeah.
okay.
We're way ahead of the curve.
All right, we're ahead of the curve. I know we're ahead of the curve. Trust me, PSBA, we learned a lot about being ahead of the curve. All right, so are there any other discussions on this one? Okay, that's good. Now we're going on policies for discussion, old business. These are our old policies that we're, fine tuning and cleaning. How do I, Dr. Vitale, just for your information, when we get to this section, we as a policy committee have chosen to go through in our spare time the old policies that have been on our books for years and review them and correct them and update them as needed. And that's what we spend about every meeting. We're spending between 5 and 10 policies, whatever we think we can fit into this meeting.
And when you say correct them, are you vetting it through PSBA or?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
both. We're fine tuning language that may be a policy that's 20 years old that hasn't been addressed, that may be fine tuning it to today's standards and just cleaning house, so to say, cleaning the file cabinet. So the first one is charter schools. We're adding the word parents and we're adding guardians to parents. Taking out the board of trustees of the charter school, D. We're taking out the board shall evaluate do I have to read that if we were taking it out?
Nope.
Okay, good. There was something this one.
Designate with a
Superintendent or designee. We will not, charter schools shall be subject to all federal, state laws and regulations prohibiting the discrimination and admissions. We're adding the word sex or sexual orientation to the word sex to that of the student. Transportation. The district shall provide transportation to resident students attending a charter school located in the district, a regional charter school in which the district is a member, and a charter school located within 10 miles outside the district boundaries in accordance with distance requirements established for district students. And that's it for that. Any questions on that one?
Relevant.
There's
update.
probably going to be more
It seemed like.
with the new legislation that's just come out about charter schools and what can occur.
Do we want to wait with this one or just hold this, table this
You're
one?
not making any drastic change, but I think it could come back and
Come back and
once-
look at it again?
look at it again, but make the
Keep this
changes
change,
now.
make these,
Yeah,
change-
make
okay,
these
Yeah.
changes
okay, I'm good with
now.
that. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, next we're going on to extracurricular participation by charter, cyber charter students. The board shall provide transportation from their homes and other non-school areas for individual students enrolled in charter and cyber charter schools who participate in the school district's extracurricular activities or interscholastic athletic programs. When the district,
Excuse me, I might have misheard you. I'm not sure I heard you clearly. I thought you said the board shall provide. Did you say shall not provide? It shall not provide.
oh, shall not.
That's huge.
I know.
Okay, yeah.
I
All right.
just went over that. Sorry.
Because you got
Shall
me,
not
now you got me reading it, so.
I was just seeing if you're awake. Okay, it shall not recite. When this, though that makes sense now, because I was going to ask a question about this, but that just clarifies my question. When the district provides transportation to and from any away competition, game, event, or exhibition and requires district students to use district transportation, cyber charter students shall be required to use the transportation provided by the district. Okay, I'll go through it. I think that was it. Yeah, okay.
That was it.
Any questions? I'll ask the first question, I guess. I'm sorry for, does anyone else ask the first
I was
question?
just gonna ask, if, can the parents take the kids, or do they have to go home school?
Well, we're not driving them, so however they get there, they get there. They
I
can
asked-
Uber if they want.
Either they go in the school district, or they have to get there.
Yep.
My question is, I thought we as a district did not permit anyone other than our own cyber students to participate in our activities. When did I thought that was the selling aspect of
it's-
being in our
It's
cyber.
required, isn't it? It's required.
We have to.
You must.
We have to.
So someone that's in the PH cyber
Absolutely.
charter school that has
Absolutely.
no tie to East Stroudsburg School District
Yes.
can
If
play
they're a
on
resident-
East
if they're-
Stroudsburg
If
School
they're a
District.
resident of the district, yes.
Resident of the district, and their cyber school does not offer that
So they
activity
can
at the
still play
cyber school.
in this district.
And they're,
Absolutely.
So do we get reimbursement from the charter school for them
No.
to participate?
No.
Help pay for
no,
the funds of that?
they pay taxes.
Yeah, the tax.
What I'm getting at is we pay the cyber charter school tons of money to educate this student.
No, you don't get anything back.
And they're not providing anything other than the
Right,
brick and
right.
mortar
No reimbursement.
benefit. There's no reimbursement. So,
No.
and we
Our
have to do
students.
this?
Yeah,
We have to do this?
but understand though, in all fairness.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I think another way to think about this is, we don't charge our student athletes that go to school here additional money to participate in athletics, right? So that's gonna be the argument that a cyber parent's gonna make. Hey, wait a minute, I'm already paying taxes in the community. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just trying to maybe make you feel better about it. The cyber students have to be residents, right? So they're paying taxes.
They have
So
to prove they're
as long as
residents
they can
of our
get
school
here,
district.
as long as they can get here, they can take a uniform, they can participate. And you know what? Many districts in our county already do it. I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the selling aspects of our cyber school. That would make a great thing that if.
No, the selling aspect of our cyber school, it's a lot cheaper than sending our kids somewhere else.
Well,
That's the-
I
For us.
selling aspect.
To us, but to the public, you know.
No, not really. No, I mean, I would have never seen it that way. And I'm an outsider, basically.
Okay. All right. So basically what this is saying, my child is a participant in, say, XYZ charter school. They want to play cross country, they want to run cross country.
Yep.
As long as they get their child or student to the school, to and
Yes.
from the school.
Yes.
But when they're here and they go to an away game,
They're
they
on
still
bus.
have to use our
Absolutely,
bus
yes.
and no parent, they still have to
Yes.
follow our regulations, what they get
Absolutely.
here.
Because they're one of our student athletes. Yes.
Yeah,
def-
they're
So
going
does
to the
that-
team.
So I have a question then, hypothetically, does that mean they can participate in choir and band?
Yes.
Do? They can?
Yeah, it's extracurricular.
How about homeschool?
Yes,
How about homeschool?
yes.
They, so
Yes.
they're considered
Oh, yeah.
part of the site.
There should also be a policy of how much of the school day.
This is the new legislation.
So homeschooled, home educated students can also come in for certain classes if they want a business class or a social studies
Right.
class.
Do we address that in any policy?
Keith, I stand corrected, as pointed out by the wonderful Deb. The board shall require the charter or cyber charter school to pay the cost of the expenses for its students' participation in the school district's extracurricular activities or interscholastic athletic programs. I don't know how you would bill that, but yeah.
Unless we develop a
I'm
flat
just
fee.
surprised.
In this
That's
policy,
what-
Deb, or is that a different
It's in
policy?
there. Yeah, no, it's in the top.
We
It's on the
deduct their
page.
invoice.
So we can give them ours,
But we are required to allow them to participate.
but we're not denying the student a chance, but we're gonna send a bill and then go, and then, okay.
But do we do the same thing for all?
Well, what we would do is we would just hold money back, Keith, is what we would do.
Yeah.
Okay, from their
But
money.
we'd have to put a value on everything. I don't think you ever have put a value on that. I find it hard to believe you're ever accounting for that. So that's- This is policy.
The same policy,
number-
Jason. What page?
This is 140.1.
Yep.
And it's on page. I don't have. a
Oh, it
page
is,
number.
it is,
Yeah,
it's
they
in
don't
140.1.
There's no page number.
Oh, it's right below.
It's at the top of. Top of page two.
Yeah, it starts out, the board shall require the charter of cyber school, maybe I should read the whole policy, I'm sorry, Debbie.
Yes.
The board shall require a charter or cyber charter school to pay the cost of the expenses for its students' participation in the school district's extracurricular activities. Or, so basically, we have to provide we're providing to students, but their charter school is responsible for paying for it. Okay, maybe I should read.
And
the
we
whole
just need a flat fee. For example, if they go on the bus, you can figure out what the cost is of the bus.
That's,
You know what I'm gonna say to you as a board? Number one, this is not something that's pervasive. And number two, I think you might spend more money trying to track that
Track how
than
much.
to
Right.
try to, than to
Yeah.
bill it
How
out.
many students actually,
I would start,
I
I would
was-
start with that question.
yeah, how many students
Let
actually?
us dig in and see how many students is
Right.
actually.
If
and
it's 210,
a hand-
it's worth it.
Correct.
If it's two,
Right.
Let's see how much of a concern. it was.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to do is provide the best quality education for our community students. But we want to also try and retain those students into our system, not send them somewhere else. Not just that, because these students are outside, they miss not being here or being a part of this culture too. They really do. I totally agree with that. Okay,
Parents may not agree with you, but I agree with you.
any questions further about that policy? Wow, see that? And that's one of our policies that we've had. It's just, we're just reviewing it and
Right.
updating, so. Okay, so student complaint process. Purpose, okay, I'll read the purpose of each one. The purpose of this, the board recognizes the students have the right to request redress of complaints. In addition, the board believes that the incalculation of respect for established procedures is an important part of the educational process. Accordingly, individual and group complaints shall be recognized and appropriate appeal procedures shall be provided. And then we go down. What?
There's no changes on these.
Oh,
We're just
okay.
reviewing this.
No
and
change.
We're saying
no
there's no
change.
change.
That's why I forgot, yeah, okay, as I
Just gotta
thought
put
this,
a review date on it.
we're just updating date. So does anyone want to change anything, add to it? No, we'll move on.
And 236, same thing, no changes. We're just.
No
reviewing.
change to 236. We're just reviewing it. Anyone have any questions on 236? That's what when I looked at these, I was wondering what okay, that's,
because there was
They're-
no
next one's up
highlighted
for
area.
review.
okay. Limited, okay, now we have any public comments? Participation from the public,
Did you forget
Being that-
did you forget 238?
238, 236,
36?
nothing's
We
changed on
did
it.
No-
that
no changes
threat
to it.
assessment.
Being that there's no
earlier.
public except Mr. Roner, are you, do you have any comments, Mr. Roner?
None.
And there's nobody else out there? Anyone online?
Looking up that word.
See? I will state that tonight's meeting. Moving on to posting of policies for those to review in the public. I would like to make a motion, I would like a motion to be entertained to authorize and direct the administration to post the following items, policies. 113.1, 113.2, 202, 236.1, 254, 607, 805.2, 140, 140.1, 219, and 236 with noted revisions for public review during the month of October and subsequent board action in November.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion, second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Guess I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And, oh, went a little longer than normal, John. I'm sorry. 36 minutes.
That's because